Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast tonight. As you can see, my guest, is not quite here yet, and that's okay. Sometimes we have technical challenges, and so we'll just wait to see her pop up. But until that time when she's able to pop up, our lovely guest, Miss Donna Cowan, is going to be here tonight, just talking about her new book with the passion of a pig and see where that kind of leads us. I really want to thank everybody who was given support with the blog and reading on the information that she had posted there. Fantastic. So thank you again for all of that support and for so many of you who pop up here live every Tuesday evening with all of us. It is great to see authors support each other and now finding bigger audiences to reach out to for their books as well. I just wanted to let everybody know, thank you so much for the great support of the story that we shared on Sunday evening, and well, afternoon really, and that full circle coming all together was really just a shock, such a surprise. And I know the Lord, He knows everything, and so I'm sure, had all those things really lined up prior to, but it also shows that you have to act. And in the action, you usually will find your answers. If anything, what I have learned through all of this journey of writing and of starting my business. Hi, Jan. Yes, we're just waiting for Donna to pop in here. And thank you so much for coming and supporting. So, what we have learned through all of the business and everything like that is that you need to take action. And within the action, that's where you really find answers. Um, the part about even starting to actually write the book, it had just been one of those things that was out there. I would start, I would stop, I would start, I would stop. And I just didn't really have the confidence or belief that maybe it could make an impact with somebody else. Thank you, Mark. Love your message. Oh, you're awesome. Thank you. So, this light that we do to stretch out to other people, like I said, I just didn't know who would want um, to read a story about abuse. I mean, it's not rainbows and flowers and unicorns. It's just not. But there's incredible hope, right? And that is what brings us all in. And like I shared on Sunday, where the police officer was able to come to the presentation and I think sit and listen. So I was really trying to look at the perspective of the supporters, of the police officers, of all of those people that are there that give these supports to help. The interesting thing about all of it really is there's so many there's so many opportunities to have I guess you'd say the story kind of slanted, right? You wonder, you saw the ugh of everything that was happening, right? And in that ugh, you just think, I wonder how they ever able to get out and keep moving forward. And so 16 years later, it was like for him to see that and for now his wife to see how my son has grown up. There's just so many levels there that is really incredible. So, looks like my author friend, Miss Donna Cowan, she'll be popping up here really soon. So, that is awesome. And thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jan, for being a part of this support this evening. So, when it comes to any kind of, challenges in your life, how do you handle all of that? Are you one that is cool and collected? Are you one that is kind of worrisome and freaks out? Well, never freak out because if you are exercising your faith, things can happen. And speaking of, here is Miss Donna right now. I'm going to bring her in and we're going to get this thing rolling. Hey, Donna, you made it. Thank you so much. She persevered. A technical problem hung on there, but she was like, nope, I'm going to keep working. I said, well, I'll just meet everybody live now and let's get this thing rolling. So, Miss Donna, thank you so much for showing up here live. And just being a part of the incredible show this evening. So, before we start into this, I'm going to jump over and make sure that we've got this thing rolling.
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of All Made with Light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
Awesome. I have to put this comment right up. This is from Jan. She says she loves those puppets.
Thank you. These are the first time those are being shown. These are my new puppets. I had some made back in 2018. They're pretty worn, so I had to have new ones made. So this is their first time getting to be shown to the public. I've had them kind of hidden for a little while, but I have a great lady out of New Zealand. Her name is Deborah Williams. That she does an amazing job. If you're interested, go to kluwerpuppets.com.
Wow, amazing. Great. I'm so happy that they get to be kind of the showcase for everything that you do. Donna, tell us a little bit about what your stories are all about and how you fell or stumbled into this whole passion.
Well, it's kind of a very strange, long journey. I just kind of grew up in a big family, and I was the youngest. And by the time they got to me, they were a little bit tired of raising kids. And so they just kind of like, okay, as long as she's fed and clothed, she'll kind of figure it out for herself. And so I was left alone a lot. And, most of children that understand being the youngest, that you feel like you're playing catch up your whole entire life. And when my siblings went to school, I was left alone at home, with my mother, but she was very busy doing all the things that a mother of a large family, as you well know, April, has to take care of. So I just had to entertain myself mostly. And I was so intrigued by school, and they had these books that they were given at school. And I thought, there's some key between them going to school and those books, and it's called reading, and I have to figure it out. So I would steal their books, and I would go to all the different family members because they were paying attention, and would ask them, it's like, what is this word? And then I would memorize it. And about 6-8 months later, I had taught myself to read. And I didn't know it was unusual, so I didn't really talk about it. And my family had no idea that I knew how to read until later on, when I was in kindergarten. And it was just a conversation between me and a teacher, and it came up, and they were a bit shocked. Now, I know that's not unusual for kids nowadays, but when I was growing up, it's like most kids did not learn to read until first or second grade. So, it was highly unusual, and so it kind of started this love affair for me with stories and reading, which later branched out into writing because, large family, we don't get to go to the library as often. So same story over and over. So I started changing the stories. Came kind of the family storyteller. And, they just kind of grew and just kind of percolated in the background. And it never occurred to me that anybody else besides my family would want to hear this. So, life gets in the way. You just kind of grow up, you have families and husbands, and move on down the road. And then when I was 29, I was diagnosed with a neuromuscular disease. And I'd never heard of it before, and I knew very little about it, and it really kind of stopped me in my tracks. I was immediately taken off work, several surgeries. I was in a wheelchair for a very long time. I couldn't really do a lot of things, but my brain was just as active as it always had been. So, so the one way I was trying to stay sane in this crazy world was to just start writing again. But that even had its complications because with the muscular disease, holding onto a pen or trying to type was complicated. Trying to use the dictation wasn't really easy, and so kind of got frustrated with it. I kept trying and not doing well, and then another 10 years, my grandkids came along, and I talk to my grandkids about, books, and I would read to them. It was one of the few things that I really could do with them, was read and tell stories. And they kind of encouraged me. They talked about, my stories, that they liked them and they thought they were better than some of the books. And so they kept encouraging me, into the point that they wanted me to write down some of these stories for their friends because they couldn't remember them. And you know, and I sort of did that, and I was still kind of playing with it, thinking this is not a big deal. And then my granddaughter asked me one day about one of my cats. And she was just asking why they were outside and why they came back so exhausted at night. And I just made up this story a couple of weeks later about she was a secret superhero and she was out saving her animal friends. They absolutely loved that story. So they wanted me to write it, started writing it. And then we kind of talked about her pre-story about how she became a superhero, which is what spawned the Superhero School series. And they loved the story I came up with so much. They really, really wanted me to publish it. My whole family kind of got behind me and encouraged me to go ahead and publish it. And it has just exploded into an entire series. It is having a spin-off series coming out later this year, getting ready to do the fourth book in the series with the coloring book. You can see them kind of over my shoulder here. And, I just never anticipated that. And then kind of along the way, I've been doing editing off and on through most of my life as a writer, and that's kind of exploded. Now I'm doing ghostwriting. And I'm coaching. I have 2 writing groups, and it's like I never anticipated any of these things. And it's just I just kind of stumbled through life and ended up here. And I absolutely love what I'm doing, which is always kind of surprising to me.
Yes, the surprise is you sometimes the preparation has been throughout your life and the timing has just never arrived. And then the time that it arrives, like you say, it feels like a stumble.
Mhm,
All of the skills were preset and ready.
mhm.
You had your own beta readers or beta listeners, right? to
Right?
test things out on. So many great factors right there in place. And
Mhm,
so, wonderful job. Great. It's very encouraging to say, never quit or give up on it because maybe it's just the timing. So, keep your skills active and see what can happen because you can be successful in any way you put your mind and your focus to it. Take some action and things can happen at the right timing. So, Donna, tell us with this new book, with the passion of a pig, I love to cite it, passion of a pig, right there. Passion of a pig. Tell us a little bit about this book this evening.
Well, this book particularly is the third book in the series, and it is most like me. I think Patty is most like me, although all of the characters have a little bit of me in them. And in the third book, the superhero school group, there's 4 of them. They come back, and one of their town matriarchs is missing, and they can't figure out what's going on with her. And in the previous book, she had actually adopted one of the 4, and so they're looking for her and they can't find her. And of course, Patty is tech savvy. She can pretty much do anything with a computer or a phone or a laptop or anything like that. She hacks into things and figures it out. So she tracked the cell phone for this town matriarch and found out that she went missing in this field where there's not supposed to be anything, except in book 1, this is where they found Cat. And she says she came from this fantastical world called California. And so they're thinking, well, maybe there's some strange portal there. So they go, they look, they find it, they go through the portal thinking they're just going to go find their friend. But when they come out on the other side in California, all of the animals are now children except for Cat. She is still a cat because she was originally from the human world. And so now they have problems because they don't know how to be children because they're animals. And they're immediately picked up by a truant officer that takes them to the school, and they're trying to figure out what they're supposed to do and try and find their friend, and also trying to keep Cat from being sent to the dog pound. and they can't communicate with her. So it's kind of a rollicking, kind of crazy caper, mystery caper, where they're trying to find things and they're trying to figure things out. And I think for Patty, the biggest thing about her is finding her passion is she tends to work alone. She wants to just do everything herself and not involve her friends. You know, and so in this particular case, she has to really depend on them, and they all have to pull together and use all of their talents to figure out how to save Cat, how to find their missing matriarch, and then get everybody back to Sweet Meadows in time for their next class.
Whoa, what an adventure. What an adventure. Going through all those things. I love the part about talking, meow, 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 talk, yeah, and that frustration, right? Because anyone who has pets, I'm sure they're like, oh, you humans are just crazy. If you would just listen to me. And we're blah, 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 cat, blah, 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 cat. Right? They're just like,
Well,
I love that part because it spawns off so many other stories and so many other adventures, right?
right, and actually they come up with an ingenious plan to be able to communicate with Cat. They actually write words on paper and put it on the ground, and then she, you know, when they ask her a question, she'll go stand on the right paper. You know, and I came up with this idea because I've seen these videos where they have these little buttons that their dogs are pushing, trying to talk to their owners, and so I thought that's actually pretty interesting way to communicate with an animal. So they tried it and it worked.
Excellent. What fun ideas. I think the creation is what is so fun because you don't feel stuck or trapped. And this is part of fantasy that allows us to play again, to imagine again, to create again. And when you're in those worlds of creation, you actually come up with more problem solving than anything, right? Because now you had a character who can't communicate. So then as the writer, you're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? And so a little research goes into this idea and thinking about this, and when you see it, you're like, wow, because you weren't limited in
Mhm.
your thoughts, and that is huge. So for any creators out there, once you've limited yourself, it's going to be tough to get out. You have to recognize, oh, wait, I'm in a box. Gotta put the box over here. And we gotta open up, take some action, start walking through something, and you will find answers and more ways to even create bigger things. It's really a fun activity. So in your storytelling,
Mhm.
how do you get that started? Is it just a first idea, or is there a lot of structure to how this whole series came about?
Well, I'm more of an intuitive writer, which means that I have a little bit of structure. I sort of know what the end is going to be. I sort of know where the story is going to start and what's going to happen in the middle, but I don't have it completely laid out. I kind of let the characters take me through the story and lead me. You know, and it's actually so much fun. I love going into classrooms, and you know, I always start out with telling them that I have the greatest job in the world. I get to make stuff up for a living.
Right. The whole creation, because isn't that part of what we do kind of naturally anyways? We create some type of the story. And if there's a gap in the story, instead of just saying, oh, I don't know what happened there, sometimes like, well, I think this happened or that happened. And people listening like, wow. As a matter of fact, today we were talking about doing some signing and learning the difference between a clam and a crocodile. And
Mhm.
of course, I have one storyteller in my classroom that says, you know, my dad was chomped, his leg was chomped off by a crocodile.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Where was that? Happened in the North Pole. Wow, even more. A lot of interesting things in our storytelling. And some things,
It
others you kind of, okay, maybe I should text mom about that. Oh no, it's all better now. Oh, okay. So maybe that's another idea for someone out there, right?
there
So
you go.
so Donna, you is there going to be you said there's 4 books within this series. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah, it will be a total of 8 once I'm finished.
Wow, a total of 8 books. Fantastic. Do we know all of the characters or not yet? As new ones are
We
gonna
we we
come out?
do know most of the characters. It is a kind of a cast of characters, and they each have their own little story. They're mostly introduced in the first book. We do add a few more characters with each book, but the primary characters will go through and give them their moment in the sun to kind of show their superhero talent.
Awesome. So in some of the superhero, do you have a list of ideas of what some of the superhero skills could possibly be? Is that how you kind of start off with so those things?
Well, I try to look at it as being the superhero in you. And I think people forget that, um, being a superhero isn't what we see in movies. In fact, in the first book, Simon says, who is the mouse, Simon says that powers don't make heroes, uh, choices do. And so it's about teaching children about making choices. And I think that those are your talents. It's like for Simon, one of his talents and his superhero item is that he likes to recycle, but he's also ready with the plan. He's always ready, willing, and able. And he doesn't care who you are or where you're from. He's going to be there for you. Kat, on the other hand, is a little bit shy. She's a little bit nervous, but she loves everyone. She cares about everyone. She thinks that there is no bad in the world. And so she is the ultimate friend and companion. For Patty, again, we talked about her being very tech savvy. She's able to solve problems. She does puzzles and crossword puzzles, for fun. So this is her talent, is she gets to figure things out for them. She helps them do all logistics and planning their mysteries. And then we have Freddie, who is going to be featured in the fourth book with A Heart of a Hero. And he is kind of the glue that holds them all together. Freddie is kind of like the mom we wish we all had. He's constantly making sure that they have everything they need, including food and cleaning up after everybody and making sure that everyone is taken care of except for him. So, that's why I wanted to feature him in the fourth book and make sure that we gave him an amazing title with The Heart of a Hero.
I love that idea, the heart of a hero, because I think bringing it into this scale for kids, they are relatable things. And I think that's fantastic that the superpower is the choice. What a great teaching for so many kids, and something that's kind of lost in a lot of our societal kinds of conversations. And in some groups, trying to bring it back. And we hope as a whole we can really remember that our choices are what make things possible or impossible. Sometimes in the choice we forget that we don't get to choose the consequence, but you have that power within the choice. You can choose A,
Mm-hmm.
you can choose B, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
but A's consequence might be more fun than B's consequence. So choose wisely, right?
Right. Well, and we do talk about consequences in the book. And primarily, what I wanted to bring forward is I talk to my grandchildren all the time. Now, they are a little bit older, but when we started this, they were at this age. And what I found a lot of times is they were asked to have responsibility, but they weren't taught how to create responsibility for themselves or how to make choices, to be consistent with their choices and understand why you would choose something over something else. And so a lot of the underpinning of the story is about this idea that choices make heroes. And so to be effective, you have to choose your path in life and you have to stay on that path. And when you realize that you've made a mistake, then you have to choose again. So it is about teaching that. It is about teaching responsibility. It's about teaching all of the effective tools of, of childhood, because at this age when I'm writing in middle grade, which is the 7 through 12-year old, these are when kids are developing who they are, who they want to become. And so it's very important that we give them all of the tools that they need to be extremely successful in all things that they do in their life.
Yes, absolutely. So it's great to see that as the stories come forward, the heroes, the ideas that they're going to be able to bring forward with all of your characters and the adventures that they're going to have, it really makes it something of more than just the good story, the teaching tool. It makes it fun. And how many of us really enjoy to have that fun? Sitting down, reading a book, it's not a chore. If you can fall into the story, by the time it's done, you're like, wait, where's the next one? And that's the whole concept of a great story. You want more. So hopefully, Miss Donna, we can offer that opportunity for people to get out there, get your books,
Mhm.
and really share them out with the grandkids and so on and so forth. Summer is coming, right?
Right.
Summertime is coming, and schools will be off on recess time. So this is a perfect time to gather those books. And if you have time, grandparents out there, to
Mhm.
grab some of these books and have that time with your grandkids because you know they're going to be popping up. Man, yeah, how about a few popsicles and a few good books? I mean, what what better way to spend a summer afternoon, right?
Mhm.
So, Donna, is there anything else you would like to share with us before we close this evening?
Well, I would like to say that, that is an amazing idea. And one of my best quotes that I get from most of my reviewers is that the kids they're either reading for or the kids that are reading can't put it down. I do try to keep the story moving as quickly as possible. It's a rollicking adventure caper that we take it on and we keep it moving. We don't sit down or let grass grow under our feet at any point in time. And right now, all of the books are on an amazing sale through Amazon. They're really low right now, so it's the perfect time to go and get your copies. They're available, of course, in hardcover, softcover, and ebook. And I just love doing what I do because it lets me just be free to be who I am and just tell stories, which is all I want to do.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I know I've got summertime coming up and I've got a gaggle of kids still young enough to want to read more and they adore books with animals. And I think it would be fun to actually read some books with animal characters in it that aren't always about the bathroom jokes. I'm so tired. I'm like, come on, let's do something more. So this looks like a series that I'm gonna get for myself with the kids and just really enjoy this time together. So thank you, Miss Donna. I know I'm gonna get a hold of them, and we wish everybody out there to get them as well. We'll drop the link here below as I close down, and go ahead, punch that replay button, share it with other people, and let's help Miss Donna get more of these books and stories out because who knows? There could be a whole nother set of series coming. You know, she's got a mind that's going to create. Thank
Right.
you, Miss Donna. Thank you for bringing us this hope this evening. And everyone, get out there, find your hope through your story, and share it. We'll see y'all. Bye bye.
Bye.